future value at time t. Okay. And we all know what that is, but we're going to figure out where that came from. Present value times 1 plus the interest rate raised to the power t. All right? I mean, the way that works, let's say PV is $100, and let's say R is 10%, and T is 1. I could obviously plug in my 1 in there and solve it, but let's see how that works. FV1. Well, I'm going to get my principal, which is the present value, plus interest, right? For one period. Well, interest for one period, I'm going to take my PV and multiply it with interest, okay? So in this case, $100 times 10%. By the way, if you write calculations like that to OneNote and finish up with an equal, it actually calculates it for you. Formatting is not necessarily that precise, but if you want to do something quick and dirty, you can do it there. You don't need Excel for that purpose. And all I have to do is add that to PV, right? Suppose I want to know what I have 1 year after. Basically, I'm going to reiterate on that equation. That equation, even though I put a 1, all that means is if I want the value of something 1 year ahead of that date, all I have to do is add to that value interest for one period, right? Which means future value at time 2 future value at time 1 plus 1 year interest. But in this case, future value at time 1 was 110, plus I'm going to add 11, and that's going to be 121. Or FE2 is FE1, if you write this symbolically, 1 plus R, right? But I know what FE1 is, PV times 1 plus R. Since we're civilized people, we're not going to write that symbol like that. If something is multiplied by itself, you call it a square, right? Or exponent 2. Since you're finance majors, I don't have to show you the third step. If I repeated this procedure, FV3 is going to be PV times 1 plus R raised to the power 3, and so on. Okay. Now, that's basically our equation of motion. So let's set it up in our solver. Let me delete this. This is my template in the Seeker. This is a protected sheet. The only thing it would allow you to do, unless you know the password, add a copy of that, okay, without all those warnings and stuff. Okay, my equation has 3 inputs: the interest rate, the money that I start with, and time, right? So I'm gonna put 2 inputs. If you put too much, just click on that other than the first one and click on delete, okay? In fact, it's not even gonna allow you to delete that one because I wanna keep at least 1 in there. And you cannot delete the row for the target either. So I'm going to add one more. And I'm going to show you how to add those. It's just a little macros that I'm going to teach you how to do. In order to succeed in this class, you don't have to know any of that, but those skills that you get are going to be very valuable to you. Suppose you took this to your employer and your firm as a whole doing a very complicated spreadsheet, and you want to know your break-even level of sales. The damn spreadsheet in probably 20 different sheets, over 20 different workbooks, people collaborate. All you have to do is create a summary page here. That's my profit, and these are my inputs. Find me the input level that I want, or the sales. That's going to make the profit zero, for example, the break even, right? If you show that to your employer, you are going to be put in the unfireable list because they need you. I mean, there are two ways to be on unfireable list. One, to be top of your class from Harvard Business School, or to show them something that they know they need, and unless they have you, they won't have it. You missed the boat on the Harvard. Now, you're going to have to make yourself unfireable that way. If you know how to use the stuff that I'm going to teach you just in this class, you're going to be in the top 2 to 3 percentile of your workplace in terms of how much they're going to desire you. Because a lot of people don't want to know Excel, but it's a great calculator. In fact, that's how I'm going to use it here, as an algebraic calculator. There are other things we'll be able to do with it, but at this point, this is just an equation that depends upon many values. We're going to solve it for one of them, keeping the others constant. We do a lot of that in business world. And suddenly you have something that you could take and show them, okay, here's how I'm going to do it. Doesn't mean we can't do these things algebraically. We can. So let's set up our equation. Our inputs are present value, interest rate, and number of periods. I'm going to put arbitrary numbers there. And 5. And I want these things. I'm kind of, I don't know why it's doing it euro. Percent, 1, 2. Number of periods, I don't need that many digits. You could have it less. It doesn't have to be an integer number, by the way. And let me see. And I'm going to pick arbitrarily solve for present value. Now I'm going to enter my equation. You know how to do it. Take the present value times 1 plus the interest rate raised to the power number of periods. This one is simple, and I'm not going to worry about order of operations. But as we do complicated stuff, we'll talk about those. As it is in the red light mode, if I give you present value, interest rate, and number of periods, it calculates how much of that's going to be that many periods from now, okay? So 25. So and you can change the format of this as well. Let me do that too. that number over there underneath the green one is the difference between the left and the right. But if all you care is want to know what's the value of the left-hand side, you don't need to worry about that. But suppose I wanted to ask the following question. I want to have $5,000 in my account 10 years from now. How much should I invest now? Okay. That's the inverse of, present value. We actually have a formula for that. PV equals FVT divided by 1 plus R raised to the power T. In the simple case, it's not complicated. But it's, besides the point. Right now, I'm teaching you, if you set up the problem, you don't even have to know that, okay? Okay, and I'm gonna enter my target value. I want $5,000 in 15 periods, okay? If I double click on this one, that changes the light to green. What it does, the values actually change from 1 to -1 and vice versa. But there is something called conditional formatting that I'm going to teach you guys. It just shows you the light. For example, if I took the value of that